We're proud to announce
Chance Forever. Help Rotary make history at endpolionow.org.
Welcome, everyone, to the Rotary Club of Tulsa. We're glad to have you here. We have a great meeting in store, and we know you'll be glad you allotted this time for the Rotary Club. We almost didn't have a meeting because the bell wasn't here. I'm not sure I know how to start the meeting without the bell, but we've done it. So today, our invocation and our song and pledge will be by Corey Nickerson, it looks like, and our visitor introduction will be by Catherine DeCam. So, Corey, will you lead us?
Please bow with me. Lord in heaven, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the camaraderie. We thank you for fellowship. We thank you for friendship. Lord, in this day of discord and disunity and disharmony, we ask that you would help each of us be a carrier of peace in our world. We thank you, Lord, that as we work together for peace, things can change. And although it doesn't look very promising at the moment, we just ask that you would guide us as individuals, as Rotarians, and as citizens of this community to do everything we can to build peace and harmony. Thank you for this food. We thank you for the hands that have prepared it. We ask your blessing upon them. And in your name we pray. Amen. Let's sing America the Beautiful. Oh, beautiful for space. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there anything else you want me to do? I'm good at bell ringing if you need help at the end.
I have the honor of announcing the guests today. If everyone will please hold your applause to the end, we can enthusiastically welcome everyone at the same time. Today we have Cameron Walker, who's a guest of Paul Bowman. If you'll stand, okay, thank you. Andrew Bryant is the guest of Jeffrey Rudd. Taylor Burks is the guest of Dana and Michael Burks. Okay. Jody Banks, Laura Ratliff, who is the daughter of John Johnson, Brian Johnson, who is the son of John Johnson, Sarah Johnson, who is the granddaughter of John Johnson, are all here with Randy Show. Ethan Nall is here with Tim Nall. Amanda Viles is here with Philip Viles. Ralph Schaefer is a guest of David Peterson. Isaac Hutchins is a guest of Mark Morley. Michelle Place is a guest of Bob Sade. And Brooke Wright is the grandson of Glenn Wright. Okay, everybody, let's have the big round of applause now. And our visiting Rotarians today, we have Jerry Strange from Hobart, Oklahoma. And we have Harlan Pinkerton from Sand Springs. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for helping start the meeting today. For our Phones Out, Take Notes segment, where we encourage you to take out your phones and get your calendar synced up with your Rotary Club programs. First thing we're going to do is we're going to change this segment to the Phones Out, Silent Your Ringers. Take notes. Alicia, we had 3 phones go off in the meeting last week. I didn't see, so I did not see. I learned a long time ago you don't say, but I honestly didn't see. But you're notified. We do have some outstanding programs planned for the next few weeks we wanted to let you know about and remind you to come. Next week on August the 19th, we have Mike Turpin, our dynamic and energized, always former Oklahoma Attorney General, who is a political commentator and has entertained us for years. We'll also have during that program a new video on our diversity and inclusion focus for this year, and we'll have a Where Are They Now segment on one of our past IBA honorees who has gone on to do great things that you'll love to hear about. So please come to that. On August 26th, our speaker will be United States Senator Jim Inhofe. Nothing more needs to be said about that, except I'll say a little bit more in a few minutes. We have some very long-term plans to tell you about. We'll have some programs later on during the fall on social issues like teen pregnancy, childhood education, and health. And in February, we're planning a panel of clergy to tell us some of their favorite wedding stories to sort of honor Valentine's Day. So that should be fun. And we'll do a lot of fun planning for that. And then later in the spring, when it warms back up, we'll be meeting, this whole group, I hope, plus everyone else in Rotary will be meeting at the Tulsa Zoo. So those are things to look forward to. You can't mark your calendars on those yet because it's too far in advance, but we wanted you to let you know those things are coming. As always, bring guests to your Rotary Club meetings whenever you can. A reminder of our committee meetings today. Rotary Cares Committee will meet in room 232. So for our next entry in the Who Was That competition, we have a new one, and someone in the club thinks that we have a Rotarian who looks like John Wayne. For those of us who've been around a few years, he's a household name. For those of you who are younger, you may not know who he is, but go Google him. He's quite famous. So the question is, who was that Rotarian that looks like this celebrity? Is that an agree or disagree? I don't know. So you may recall that our leading entry so far this year is Ron Butler in the... You know, it's going to be hard to knock that one, Ron, because we've got some great stuff for later in the year on the most interesting man in the world, and that's just too entertaining to let that go. So that may still be in first place. Just a reminder, let Alicia or me know if you have any other suggestions for Rotarians who look like famous or infamous people. Alicia, which sponsors are we recognizing today?
Our sponsors for today, Dave Wolfers with James Coffin Wolfers, Inc. Thank you very much. Lonnie Curry, also Paul Bowman, Gordon Greer, and Bill Miller, with Bank First. We thank you so much for sponsoring our meeting today, and please obviously seek out your local Rotarians if they have a service. We've got a quick little video from Bank First. I think you guys will really enjoy this. I lied. We don't have a video.
She lied. No video. All right. Thanks, Alicia. A couple of announcements. So that we have adequate seating and food service, I said I would mention the Jim Inhofe program again. There are sign-up sheets on your table, or there are supposed to be, for bringing guests to the August 26th program with Senator Inhofe. We need to know if you plan to bring a guest, because we need to alert the church so that they'll have plenty of food for everyone who comes to the meeting. Also, Brenda Melancon asked that I remind you the October 3rd Medical Supply Network raffle drawing is fast approaching. Tickets are $25 each, or $5 for $100, and may be purchased online at msni.org or from Brenda, David Peterson, or Ben Wyndham. Remember, the top prize is a 2015 Mercedes-Benz CLA Class luxury set of wheels, and I think it's brand new, actually, so buy your tickets. I'd like to call your attention to a significant milestone announced by our international president, Robin Drawn, this past week. And I told you about this a few weeks ago. The continent of Africa has gone one full year without a single new case of polio caused by the polio virus, a whole year. And just a little bit more about that, if you'll take a look at this graph on the screens, it might be hard for you to read, especially in the back, but it's a graph showing the number of new cases in Africa in the years 2010 through 2014. So it's now been a year since there's been a new case, and so when we show that graph next time, there will be a big 0 at the end, and that's really good. As President Ravi said, tens of thousands of health workers have reached hundreds of millions of children with vaccine in some of the most difficult conditions imaginable. Yet, this progress, momentous as it is still fragile. As long as polio exists in the 2 remaining endemic countries of Pakistan and Afghanistan, the virus still has the potential, the potential to spread and to spark new outbreaks. Now more than ever, we need the power of all of Rotary to carry us through to the end, not just a polio-free Africa, but a polio-free world. So I think that's a neat thing, and we'll keep monitoring that and keep you informed during the course of the year. Now we have a memorial resolution for our former Rotarian John B. Johnson to be given by Muzan Biggs. And while Muzan makes his way to the stage, let me say it's a great honor for all of us to say that we served in Rotary with John Johnson. We were all privileged to share that connection with him. Muzan.
The Rotary Club of Tulsa pauses to honor the memory and celebrate the life of our past president and loyal Rotarian John B. Johnson, Jr. He was born December 12, 1933 in Little Rock, Arkansas. His family moved to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and John was graduated from Classen High School. He won the 1950 and 1951 state high school golf championships and entered the University of Oklahoma, where he lettered all 4 years on its golf team. He was graduated with a Bachelor of Business Administration and then a Doctor of Jurisprudence degree. During his time in law school in 1956, he and Nan were married, a marriage that would last 57 years until her death in 2013. In time, Laura, Brian, and Brad were born to them, and in time they welcomed 6 grandchildren into their family. John then received the Master of Law degree at Harvard Law School and entered the legal department of the United States Air Force, receiving the Air Force Commendation Medal after 3 years of outstanding service. He moved his family to Tulsa to practice law in 1961. He was a partner for many years with Gable and Gottwalls, and for the past 21 years, Johnson and Jones. He was listed among the best lawyers in America every year since its inception 32 years ago. He served as president or board chair of the Metropolitan Tulsa Chamber of Commerce, Southern Hills Country Club, the Summit Club, First Tee of Tulsa, Philbrook Art Museum, the American Red Cross, Oklahoma City University, and Holland Hall School. In 2008, he was inducted into the Tulsa County Hall of Fame. John served as president of the Rotary Club of Tulsa in 1994-1995. Among many significant achievements during his presidency, one of the longest lasting involved the club's adopt-a-school, Celia Clinton. He decided that instead of giving weekly speakers one more ballpoint pen or one more coffee mug, the club would give Celia Clinton's library a book signed by that week's speaker. That practice has continued, and more than 1,100 books have been added to that school's library. He and Nan joined the Boston Avenue United Methodist Church when they came to Tulsa in 1961 and remained active until their deaths. Nan sang many years in the chancel choir, and John served on all of the church's major committees, including the Investment Committee, the Finance Committee, and the Past Parish Relations Committee. He chaired the Budget Committee for 30 years because I begged him every year to do that. He ushered for 41 years in the central aisle of the church and served as chair of the administrative board my first 2 years as pastor there. Everyone who knew John knew he was a person of impeccable integrity and a genuine friend. I move that our club approve this resolution and provide copies to members of his family by standing for a moment of silent gratitude.
I can't help but take this opportunity to talk about John for a second. For 7 years, I practiced with him at Gable Gottwalls. I'm taking a little presidential privilege here. He was always a gentleman, always gave everyone the ultimate respect, but he's ingrained in our firm lore a little bit by his golf etiquette. And we used to have scrambles every year, and if you don't play golf, I'll explain it. When you have a scramble, you have 4-person teams, and there's an A player who's really good, and a B and a C and a D player, and the D player is usually really bad or has never even played before. So a couple of times in that 7 years, I was privileged to play with John, and I was always the C player if there was somebody who'd never played before on my team. Otherwise, I was the D player. But John always said, no matter how bad your shot was, we could play that. And he said that in the kindest way. And I know what he really meant was we could play that if we had to. But he was the nicest guy, but he was competitive, so I think what he was thinking while he was saying that was this: gee, thanks. That was an awful shot. I'm going to say something nice, but that was an awful shot. Even if I hit a bad shot, it'll be better than that shot. Anyway, I still remember that 20-some-odd years later, so I couldn't help but say it. Today we have the privilege of introducing 2 new members into the Rotary Club of Tulsa, so if Tim and John will make their way here, we'll begin to introduce them. While they're on their way up to the stage, I want to thank Michael Turner for conducting the new member orientation today. To all my fellow Rotarians, I charge you to make Susan and Brian's membership valuable to them, put them to work on your committees, and make friends with them. Susan and Brian, I now have the pleasure of asking for you to be introduced to our club. Who's first?
Good afternoon, Rotary. It's my pleasure to be here. To introduce to you Brian Talkington. Brian was born in Oklahoma City and went to Putnam City North, not west or straight. And he also went to the University of Oklahoma. He's been married for 18 years to Lynette, and they have 3 children. They reside here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Brian has just taken a new position at NBC Bank. He'll be working with Alicia, and he'll be the president of the Tulsa Market Commercial Lending. So he comes into our club under the classification of banking commercial lending. I left his 4-way test on the table, so I'll hand it to him when we get back. So Brian, it's my pleasure to present you with your Rotary pen and your 4-way test, and welcome to Rotary. Thank you.
First of all, I have to ask Alicia, is there any fine for a president who's not wearing his name tag? Oh, there it is.
It's because it always ends up crooked.
Oh, okay. Just wanting to take care of business here. Well, it's my, Susan, come up here. It's my pleasure to introduce our newest member, Susan Neal. And let me tell you, I really had to fight off other Rotarians who said, wait, Susan's coming to the club? I want to. Oh, there's Paula right there shaking her head. Well, Susan is a native Tulsan, and she serves as TU's Vice President of Public Affairs, Research, and Economic Development. In her early career, Susan served in Washington, D.C. as Chief of Staff to Congressman Mickey Edwards, and then served as a lobbyist for the National Federation of Independent Business. After 8 years in D.C., she and her husband, Rick, returned to Tulsa, where Susan joined Downtown Tulsa Unlimited as a vice president, a position she held for 8 years. but let's consider all of her other community service and activities. Susan served, yes, we have to do this.
I didn't mean you do the whole.
No, I didn't. I edited it. This is not all your words here, but let me tell you, she did help me a little bit. She did serve as director of the Tulsa International Mayfest for several years. She was District 9 City Councilor for 2 terms. She served Mayors Bartlett and Taylor, and she led the privatization of Gilcrease Museum, the Tulsa Zoo, and our city golf courses. But in 2010, she was recruited to TU to serve in her role as Vice President of Public Affairs and Research and Economic Development. And in that role, she also serves as Chief Operating Officer for Gilcrease, as well as Director for TU's neighborhood outreach program called True Blue Neighbors. Susan serves on a variety of Tulsa boards. She holds a degree from OSU and has been married to Rick Neal for 34 years. They have 2 sons, Joe and Jack, and we're just thrilled to have Susan in our clubs. And let me give you your 4-way test and your Rotary pin. Thanks so much. Welcome.
It's always great to have these new members. Susan and Brian, membership in Rotary is an honor and a privilege, and with every privilege, of course, comes obligations. Every member is expected to perform his or her share of Rotary service, and the committees of the club will afford you plenty of opportunities for that. We hope that you'll greatly enjoy your service with the club and that you will enjoy serving with your yearling class, and we look forward to your graduation. All right, some project announcements. If Mandy will make her way up to the front, we have an announcement regarding a Club Foundation gift to the Girl Scouts of Eastern Oklahoma, and then Jeffrey, you're right after Mandy.
Hi, I am privileged to be able to announce a $4,000 grant to the Girl Scouts of Eastern Oklahoma on behalf of our Club Foundation Grants Committee. The Girl Scouts nationally have 2 million girls involved and 10,000 involved in Oklahoma, spanning 30 counties. You may have seen some news on our local Girl Scout troops. Recently, they attended the first ever White House campout. And previous to that, the last 13 months, their robotic teams have visited President Obama and the White House, something that I'm really excited about because NORDAM and Flight Night are so involved in STEM education. So I think that's wonderful to see our girls locally going there. I'm going to turn it over to Susan Kinney, the Chief Development Officer for the Girl Scouts of Eastern Oklahoma, to share about the donation.
The donation from Rotary was in support of our archery program for Girl Scouts, and it replaced equipment that was more than 8 years old. So think of the thousands of girls over the course of 8 years that have used that equipment. And at Girl Scouts, you know, we want every girl to reach their full potential and be able to participate in outdoor experiences, which is one of our core programs. And of course, today, every girl wants to be Katniss Everdeen. So we appreciate your support in helping make their dreams possible. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. Well, until this morning, I was not planning on being up here. I thought we were going to show the video.
We showed it last week.
You know, one of your chapters has been technology, 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 and it didn't work last week.
Well,
in Bank First, we didn't have a video from them. Rotarians, don't you want to see the video?
Rotarians,
oh, there. We'll see if we can do it right this time.
You and a guest to join us here at the Gilcrease Museum for an evening of California wine and art on Thursday, August 27th, beginning at 5 p.m.
Our new Rotarian, James Pepper Henry, has offered us a private viewing of the current exhibits.
For more information and to register for our night at the Gilcrease Museum, visit DACDB at tulsarotary.com.
We look forward to seeing you at the Gilcrease Museum on Thursday, August 27th. Together, let's raise our glasses to a new Rotary year to build new friendships and treasure the old.
So I think this was way better for obvious reasons, and I really do salute you and appreciate you, Jeffrey and Rhonda, for doing that. And I encourage all committees who have announcements to team up with someone and play a video or something like that to really spice up our programs. A reminder, our Adopt a Class contributions are about halfway to the goal, with about $4,600 committed. You may recall that those are the contributions that we make a certain number of dollars to each teacher so they can buy some extra supplies for their classrooms. Next week, we'll have an interesting video message from the principal, Tanya Davis, on those donations and how they're actually used in the classrooms. It's very nice. All right, Sarge, we've missed you a lot, Alicia, and we're really glad you're back.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be back. I don't want to say it's a coincidence, but I've been gone for 2 weeks and everything falls apart apparently. So I'm here now. Don't worry. One other quick thing. I'm really excited about Brian Talkington. So as you're getting to know him and introducing yourself to him, he's my boss. So take a moment to say something really nice to Brian. Okay, we have a lot of Sarge slides. I put this together before I left for vacation, and so I was gonna kind of brag a little bit, and then everything went crazy. Jeff asked me if I could split up our slides, our finds, and do some next week, and I said no, because 75% of it is birthdays last month. So I apologize. A lot of you have gotten I'm sorry emails, happy birthday last week, so we're gonna get caught up on all of that. First things first, I donated, find myself, $100 for answered prayers. It's 100% because of you guys. My father-in-law wasn't expected to live, and last Thursday, after what I know was a day of Rotarian prayers, he was taken out of ICU. So thank you very much for that. So this is Matthew Bristow. The little Wonder Woman on the right is his daughter, Eden. So Matthew paid $100 for her birthday and his birthday. Matthew's was last week, and Eden's was sometime in July. So sorry about that, Matthew, but thank you very much. Happy birthday to Jerry Bates. He gave $101. I like when people try and tell me, like, if it's $1 for an anniversary or $50 for a birthday, because I won't remember what you're telling me, so I'll make something up. I believe it was Jerry's 51st birthday, so thank you very much, Jerry. I don't believe Joe's here. Joe, happy birthday. Oh, back in the back. Happy birthday, Joe. Or John Wayne. I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Is he... Does he do movies or sing? Or?
Black and white movies.
Oh, no, I don't know who that is. Happy birthday, Joe, and thank you. $158 from Barney James, July 26th. Thank you, Barney, very much. $58 for his birthday and $100 for Celia Clinton, so that's awesome. Miss Linda Baker is not here today, but she gave us $100 to split between Water Wells and Celia Clinton, so happy birthday, Linda. So many birthdays. Happy birthday. A little bit of trivia for you. August has the most Rotarian birthdays, so we're going to keep this going all month. $100 from Lee. Thank you very much, and happy birthday. Tom Klenda brought me a check this morning, $100. I believe it was for his 30th birthday and his 60th Rotary anniversary. So thank you, Tom. Happy 30th birthday. That's all I have for you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Alicia. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our Rotarian of the day, Michael Willis. Michael is the Chief Deputy County Commissioner and Public Information Officer for Tulsa County. He joined our club in December 2012. In addition to service to our club, he's involved in many other organizations. For example, he serves on the Board of Directors for the Oklahoma Office of Juvenile Affairs, is chairman of the Metropolitan Environmental Trust, is a member of the Board of Directors for the TPD Foundation, and spends the remainder of his volunteer time as a reserve police officer for the Tulsa Police Department. But most of all, he's proud to be husband to his wife, Marcy, and dad to his 2 kids, Olivia and Mark. Please welcome our Rotarian of the Day, Michael Willis.
Well, it's a pleasure to be the Rotarian of the Day today. I'm kind of extra proud because a lot of people don't know this about me, but I'm a member of the Cherokee Nation, and so our speaker today is obviously tied directly to the tribe. And anyway, it's just a real pleasure to be here to introduce her. Our speaker, Jennifer Loren, is a 12-year veteran of the TV business, anchoring, writing, and producing stories for TV, news, and now for Osiyo, Voices of the Cherokee People. Jennifer is passionate about her Cherokee heritage and is excited to tell stories of the Cherokee people, documenting the tribe's history, culture, and progress. She's a graduate of the Gaylord College of Journalism at the University of Oklahoma. Boomer Sooner. She is also a member of the Native American Journalists Association and the Society of Environmental Journalists. Jennifer's lived in Texas and California, but her deep roots in Oklahoma brought her back to Tulsa, where she currently lives with her husband and 2 kids. And she's a 3-time Emmy nominee and won an Emmy for her coverage of politics and government in 2012. She's won several awards for investigative reporting, including the 2011 Society of Environmental Journalists Kevin Carmody Award for Outstanding In-Depth Reporting and Oklahoma Society of Professional Journalists First Amendment Award. Another little personal connection I have is that one of her colleagues is a good friend of mine, and I was talking to her at an event last week and told her I was going to introduce Jennifer today, and she said, you know, the thing is, Jennifer is just the best journalist Tulsa had, and we're so excited that we were able to steal her away from the news station. And I know that Jennifer and I were talking a little bit about her transition before, but it's been a great one, and if you haven't watched the TV show, you should. It airs on Sunday, and you'll hear all about it, but please join me in welcoming Jennifer Loren and give her a great Rotary welcome by saying Osiyo. Osiyo.
Osiyo, back at ya. What a great group. Thank you guys so much for having me. I recognize a lot of people. It's a pleasure to be here. So for those of you who don't know, Osiyo is how we say hello in Cherokee. So you talked quite a bit about kind of where I'm from Tulsa. That's one thing he didn't mention. I did go to Booker T. Washington High School, go Hornets, and like you said, the University of Oklahoma, and then was actually hired to work at KOTV News on 6 by Regina Moon, who's in here somewhere. So she was my former boss, and she was a great person to work for. And it would have been a very difficult decision for me to get out of television news. I really enjoyed what I did. But when Amanda Clinton from the Cherokee Nation came to me and told me about this project they were working on, it was absolutely no questions asked, the right project. I'm very passionate about it. And they have allowed me to really kind of shape this show and make it exactly what we want it to be. And it has just been an absolute joy to be able to do this. I love my job every day. I wanted to talk a little bit about how it started. And first of all, how many people, and don't be shy, and it's okay if you haven't seen it, but how many of you, if you can raise your hands, have seen our show, Osiyo, Voices of the Cherokee People? Okay. Well, a lot of you, I'm going to play some of it today so that you can see. And I hope that once you see some of what we're doing, you'll want to turn on the TV and watch it, or click on our website and watch it more. But basically, this all started when the Cherokee Nation decided that they have a huge story to tell. They have a lot of stories to tell. The Cherokee Nation is such a big part of Oklahoma, and we have an incredible history, and we have incredible people. And there are other tribes like the Chickasaws who are doing a wonderful job getting their stories out there. You've seen all of their television commercials. They're beautifully shot. They're beautifully done, and they tell great stories in a short amount of time. The Cherokees said, well, you know, we need to get our story out there. And so we put our heads together and came up with an idea. Instead of doing television commercials, we would do our own television show. The way that my boss likes to say is, like, instead of being the side dish, we want to be the main course. And so we put together a 30-minute TV show that's, we wanted to make it feel like one of my personal favorite shows, which is CBS Sunday Morning. And so it kind of has that nice
relaxed feel to the show, long-form stories, so you don't have to leave anything out. That's one thing I hated about TV news, is that you got 1 minute and 30 seconds to tell the whole story, and now I get to take 7 minutes to tell a story, which is really great. And so we got together and decided on the format, and we brought our team together, and I cannot say enough about our team. I don't know if any of you have heard of Sterling Harjo. He is a Native American filmmaker. He's not Cherokee, he's Creek and Seminole, but we're trying to adopt him into the Cherokee Nation. He's very well known, and he signed on, he started a production company with Jeremy Charles, which many of you probably know. He's a very well-known Cherokee and Tulsa visual artist and still photographer. They started a video production company, and the timing was just perfect. It was just, all the pieces were in place, and our team came together. We decided how it was gonna look. We decided that we wanted to tell our stories in documentary style. So what you have is people, Cherokees, telling their own story. And we wanted to make sure that they were all our stories were very visually stimulating and interesting. And I think that it has all come together very well. Some of when we put a 30-minute show together, a lot of people ask, how do you choose your stories? How do you decide which ones go into each episode? And there's a lot that goes into that, but we have a storyboard that has 200 plus story ideas on it that are just ready to be picked. And we stand in front of this big whiteboard every day and scratch our heads, and it's like, it has a lot to do with timing, people that are available, and then we want to make sure that whenever we put a show together, we're addressing the rich history of the Cherokee Nation, but we also want to show people that Cherokees are people just like us. I mean, I'm Cherokee. There's several Cherokees here. We're modern people. And so we make sure that we have, in every episode, a modernizing element and a historical element. Our stories are not just for Cherokees. They're for anybody. They're very interesting stories that anyone can enjoy, and we get a lot of positive feedback from people who have no connection to the Cherokee Nation, but watch our show religiously. Our show airs here in Tulsa on Channel 8, Sunday mornings at 9 a.m., and we just added a new time because a lot of people go to church on Sunday mornings around 9, so we added a new time for those people. It's at Saturday evenings at 6:30 on Channel 2. You can watch it there, and you can, of course, DVR it. Then we're on RSU TV, and we're on a national network, FNX, which is First Nations Experience, which was very exciting. So people are watching our show in LA and Chicago and Alaska, and so it's really great. We also have a lot of people watch our show online. You know, I say kind of the generation underneath me, they don't have cable, and they watch everything, you know, a la carte online, and so we have provided our show online for those people to watch as well. Okay, I want to go ahead and show the beginning of a very special episode. We did an episode where we traveled with a group of young Cherokees who go on what's called the Remember the Removal Ride. And so they retrace the Trail of Tears from where their ancestors originally lived in our original Cherokee homelands in the southeastern part of the United States. And so they start in Cherokee, North Carolina, and they go through Georgia, Tennessee, all the way back to Oklahoma. It's a 3.5-week-long bike ride. And we went along with them and documented their bike ride. And I'm gonna show you just the first segment because I don't wanna play the whole 30-minute episode for you, but I do wanna show you that first segment. It'll kind of give you a feel of how our show is produced and kind of the high production values and everything that we put into it.
The Cherokees.
A thriving American Indian tribe.
Our history.
Our culture. Our people.
Our future.
The principles of a historic nation.
Sewn into the fabric of a modern world.
Hundreds of thousands strong. Learning, growing,
succeeding,
and steadfast.
In the past, we have persevered through struggle. But the future is ours to write.
Osiyo.
Osiyo. Osiyo.
These are the voices of the Cherokee people.
I'm Principal Chief Bill John Baker. Osiyo, and welcome to the Cherokee Nation. We're so proud to share our stories with you. Wado.
Osiyo, it's how we say hello in Cherokee. And welcome to Cherokee, North Carolina, home of the Eastern Band of Cherokees in the Great Smoky Mountains. Each year, several young Cherokees begin an incredible journey here, a 3-week-long bike ride along the Trail of Tears, from these original homelands to Oklahoma, where the Cherokee Nation has been since the federal government forced our removal. The Remember the Removal ride is more than just a bike ride. It's a major commitment for these cyclists and an emotional undertaking, as these young Cherokees learn firsthand the plight of their ancestors and find the strength to persevere.
Coming into the mountains, it just had this strange effect. It just felt like I was coming back to a place that I'd missed. I didn't know that I had missed it. It was like I was coming home.
I hope everybody makes it. Come on, you got it. Your ancestors walked it. You can ride it. Come on.
That's our home. I know it's the most beautiful place in the world. I cannot imagine like actually having to leave there and maybe never seeing it again.
It's a memorial to our people. This is a really treacherous, difficult trip for these young people. By the end of it, they have a better understanding what it really means to be a people. We're going to see what happened to our people, and the brutality that happened to our people is worth remembering. It's a life-changing experience.
In today's classes, like in the history classes, there's like one page devoted to the Trail of Tears.
I want to know more. If we don't know this stuff, then it's going to get lost.
I'm going to really know for the first time fully what it means to be Cherokee, because I'm going to experience one fraction of what they went through.
It's a very moving time, just to honor the people that made the trip the first time. You know, the ones that didn't make it, the ones that did make it. Just in honor of everything that did happen.
Most people don't realize to the degree of how brutal the Cherokee removal was. We didn't want to move to Oklahoma, but the brutality of it, you know, the first 1,800 were forced from their homes on the boats, suffered great loss. It was the removal of our homeland away from everything we knew. Our stories are tied to it. So when these kids travel this whole distance and see all these major sites, they're changed. They bleed, they sweat, they cry. It's hard on them, and they do it as Cherokees. They do it together.
Getting prepared for this has been extremely fun. I've been waiting for months for this, and I'm ready now.
We found out, those of us that are on the ride, that we got accepted in January, and we really started training in early February. So, I mean, it's been a pretty long process. Ever since then, you know, it's been bike training.
At the very beginning, training was difficult, but I just remembered my ancestors went through worse than I did.
In our send-off ceremony, I didn't really understand the spiritual, emotional, mental kind of toll that it takes on you.
Have a great trip. Love you too.
Oh, it was emotional, saying goodbye to my mom and my brother.
As we were leaving, I had to leave my nephew. I did not want to. I was there the day he was born. And it was hard leaving him because I know I'm going to miss so much.
Wait. I think it's weird because we've been training for so long and the end is finally, like the goal is finally in sight. Like it's been months.
The car ride was phenomenal with all the friends that I've made, and it was a great time.
The first thing we did was we drove from Tahlequah, Oklahoma, all the way out to Cherokee, North Carolina to meet up with the Eastern Band.
2011, the Eastern Band started sending riders with us, which I think is really important.
Arriving in North Carolina and meeting the Eastern Band and everything was amazing.
You know, we get to learn a lot about each other, you know, and become friends, you know, a bond that we, you know, will share for a lifetime with this experience.
We do have our differences, you know, our cultural differences, but a lot of stuff still is the same.
It kind of shows that we are one people. We come in solidarity to honor this event that affected both of us. We get genealogists to actually go through the kids' past. Once they do our genealogy, we know where our families came. And they track it from removal time all the way back, sometimes to the 1700s.
Knowing about our ancestors, knowing about each other, where we each come from.
It's one thing to talk about who your relatives are, but it's another to see them.
Charles Hicks, he was a principal chief, so I'm a direct descendant of his brother, William.
Tristan Tremblay is actually my third cousin. Didn't know that.
Haley Cavanis, she's a direct descendant of Sequoia, which she didn't even know about.
That's what gets me through this ride now, is knowing I can do it for him. You're not doing this alone.
One of the most
So
significant
that was the
historic
first
sites
of
in the old
3
Cherokee Nation
segments
is New
that were.
Cherokee,
Thank you.
capital in southern
Thank you. We basically went on and followed that smaller group of about 6 or 7 writers and told their story along the way. And they visited sites where there were several hundred Cherokees that were buried with maybe just unmarked headstones. There were headstones with or rocks or things marking their grave sites. And then sometimes we knew there's a place called Rattlesnake Springs that they visited, where several hundred Cherokees, maybe thousands of Cherokees died, and there were no markings. We just knew that there were several Cherokees buried in the fields where we were standing. So it was a really emotional journey. It was great to be able to document it. But then that was kind of a special episode, but we really try to tell the stories. We'll take one person that is doing something interesting that's a Cherokee, and we'll tell their stories. And this next story that I want to show you is one of those modernizing elements. And because this is Tulsa Rotary, I wanted to show you a Tulsa-centric story. And so we did a story on a chef named Brad Dry, who lives here in Tulsa, and he cooks traditional Cherokee food in this really neat urban restaurant, Chimera, in the Brady District. On Friday nights, you can get traditional Cherokee food there. So if you want to go ahead and play that next video, and I'm probably going to take up all of my time. I understand if people have to leave.
Food is a big part of Cherokee traditions, from wild onions to kanachi. But a Cherokee chef in Tulsa is reimagining Cherokee dishes using healthier ingredients from his own backyard.
And we use local musicians' music also.
It comes back to like when I'm cooking, I feel like I'm, honoring my family, and sometimes I feel like, someone in my family would be like, hey, don't add that, or I just keep that in the back of my mind that I just feel like I've kind of an ambassador for my family, by cooking. So I'm from a little town in northeast Oklahoma, Kansas, Oklahoma. I think we're up to 600 people now. I think it was 400 when I was young, when I was still living there at the time. Everybody was related, so yeah, couldn't really, you had to go to the next town to meet people. My bike is the way I get around town everywhere. I go grocery shopping using my bike. Biking is definitely one of my favorite things to do, and it allows me to go throughout all of Tulsa and find all these, natural foods everywhere. I noticed all these traditional plants and everything growing around Tulsa, and I just started from there and try to be self-sufficient. And if I need, mustard greens, there's pulp greens I could go get instead for free.
We also have variations of acorns lying around that you can make soup out of. But yeah, if you just shuck these, or you can just mash them up a little bit and add them to soup, which is, I don't know, it's kind of a flavor you really wouldn't expect. It's kind of buttery. These are the wild garlic. They're looking like they're getting a little old, so I like to try to pick them as soon as I can. These little ones are good. I like to put them in salads, like fresh salads. The onions will be out later, and then they're a lot darker than this. And they grow taller also. I'm a really big advocate for eating healthier, and especially within our nation, because diabetes is such a killer. I really like to take our traditional foods and go a healthier way with it, and just something that people would still want to eat, even though it's not the same way they cooked it. Just a very healthier way of eating it. For instance, at Chimera, I cook Indian tacos, but instead of frying them, I use a pizza stone in the oven and get it as hot as I can, and it just, like, within 2 minutes, it puffs up, because the heat's so intense. So that's a healthier way to eat fry bread, so it's more baked bread. I had my great aunt come in one time, like the only time she's been in downtown Tulsa. She tried the Indian taco I made, and she told me it was good, so I guess I did something right, even though it wasn't, deep fried. So being able to represent the Cherokee Nation with what I do, I feel like I would be making our nation proud, because I'm trying to make it healthier. I try to cook some of this food. It definitely reminds me of being back home with my family. And they're only like an hour and a half away, but still just not being able to make it to like family dinners all the time, that could be tough sometimes. So even though my grandma who passed away who taught me how to cook, I still feel like it's me kind of honoring her memory, and it just makes me feel more connected to my family. Even if I'm not cooking for them, I'm cooking for strangers, I like that because I feel like I'm using something that my family taught me to feed others. I just like making people happy, and if it's, like I said, if it's something that I enjoy so much that someone else can enjoy, then that makes me really happy.
If you'd like a taste of Bradley's traditionally inspired dishes, visit Chimera in downtown Tulsa.
All right. Thank you so much. And then we won't play the others. There are other short videos that we incorporate into each show also. We do a language lesson in every show so people can learn phrases in Cherokee that you might use or might want to use on an everyday basis. And we also do an almanac similar to like CBS Sunday Morning. There's such a rich history with the Cherokee Nation that we are able to tell shorter historical stories in each episode. We just finished our 7th episode. They come out one a month, and they play every week for a month, and then a new one comes on. There's a new one that's going to be coming out this Saturday on Channel 2 at 6:30. So if everybody wants to watch or DVR it, I would love it. And send us your feedback on our website. Tell us what you think, and if you have any story ideas that you would like us to cover, they'll go up on our board and they'll be considered. But we also, our website is oco.tv, and you can watch the entire episodes, or you can break it down and watch story by story. But it's really, I tell Chief Baker all the time, this is my dream job. It's a labor of love. I'm very passionate about it. I love what I do, and we hope that this continues forever, because there are so many stories to be told from the Cherokee Nation that we could keep this going forever. So thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. And I'll take questions if anybody wants to. I know it's 1, so if anybody wants to come up here and ask me questions, I'd be happy to stay late. Thank you.
Jennifer, that was great. We're privileged to have you today. A book recognizing today's program will be presented to our partner in Education School, as I explained to Jennifer, and she signed the book for us, and the book is called The Girl Who Helped Thunder and Other Native American Folk Tales. So perfect choice again by Rochelle for the book. Thank you. Thank you to the volunteers, Jerry and the tech team, you guys do a great job. The whole time this program is going on, those guys are waiting to spool up the slides, and they have done a great job this year. And I really just want to let them know how grateful I am to them. Thank you guys very much. And so for all of you, just remember this: if you hit a bad shot this week in the golf course or in life, just remember you could play that. We're adjourned.